Hello, Robert here. Human basic needs are shelter, clothing, and food. While the former two does not require constant refilling, food has to be kept fresh and ready to use anytime. So, how to keep it fresh? Well, easy question, right? Put it in the fridge. But why even in the fridge? Food gets spoiled anyways. Visual shelf life of food presented on visual.ly show approximate time of durability of particular food products. It turns out that honey is the longest lasting food. But that does not quite answer a question, right? The answer is bacteria. Everywhere in the nature, whether it is soil, air, water or food, exist bacteria. However, they need proper conditions in order to grow in numbers: moisture, temperature, and the time. Under ideal conditions which require food to be moist, and the temperature surrounding is 37 Celsius degree, each bacteria cell will double every 20 minutes, which leads us to conclusion that only after 1 day the number of new bacteria will be 4.76 trillion. On the other hand, when the temperature will be above 60 Celsius degree, most of the bacteria are killed. From the perspective of the fridge, however, the process of doubling is slowed down from 6 to 8 hours, allowing to store the food longer. However, most of the bacteria like neutral acidity, which refers to pH value of 7. Below the pH value of 4.5, however, most of the bacteria will stop growing. For instance, earlier mentioned honey with pH value of 3.7 will theoretically not get spoiled. Archaeologists of Egyptian tombs Yuya and Tuyu found among many artifacts honey, which preserved its scent and liquidity after thousands of years. However, honey is hygroscopic, which refers to the fact that it absorbs water from everything, even from the air. Therefore, under constant exposure to the air, the water level will increase, causing certain types of yeast to ferment it and make it unpalatable. So if even now we have problems with dealing with bacteria, how did our ancestors deal with that issue? People in ancient China were using spices in order to create sterile conditions for their food products. They did not know about the existence of bacteria, however, they could observe that dehydrated food did not spoil as fast. Following that methodology, ancient Egyptians were drying their grains and storing them in silo. Similarly, North American Aboriginals were drying their buffalo meat in the hot sun until it was hard to bite, and then mixing it with fat, which presumably excluded oxygen. It was very popular in 17th and 16th century under the name of confit around the world. Pickling, fermenting, and smoking were also very common techniques of food preservation. Pickling allowed to increase the acidity of environment where the food was preserved in, which the most common example is pickle. Fermenting allowed to change the carbohydrates of, for example, grapes into alcohols, creating wine. Exposing meat to smoke from burning wood allowed to preserve the food longer. However, the real breakthrough in food preservation appeared in 18th century when Nicholas Appert invented a technique of food preservation using glass jars. The concept was to place the glass jar into boiling water for a specific time period, depending on the food, and then seal it under these sterile conditions. In 19th century, however, canning was invented. Canning is the process of sealing food in airtight container, which allow to store food for long time periods. It could not only stay away bacteria from the food, but also all kinds of rodents as well. Usually, canned food can last from 1 to 5 years in terms of vegetables or meat. In terms of dried food like beans or cornstarch, it can last long as 30 years. After that time, acidity of the product becomes too low, making it unable to eat because of slime caused by growing bacteria. So maybe the real question is not how to keep the food fresh, but how to not waste. Because there is nearly 1 billion malnourished people around the world, and it is scary to think that only the United States wastes 40 million tons of food each year, amount which could save those people from hunger. So by saying not to waste is to keep the food fresh, because money wasted on food not only can make you realize your hobbies and passions, but also can save millions of people.